Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for letting me be a little bit delayed. I got a lot going on. A lot's been happening over the last few days, as you can be aware. But hopefully, we'll take some time tonight and not talk about all of that. And we'll talk about what's important and talk about what brings us together as a community. So let's go.
Spoken of the American century. I say that the century on which we are entering can be and must be the century of the common man.
A radical redistribution of economic power.
I mean, we know that racism is just a byproduct of capitalism. Everything would be all right if everything was put back in the hands of the people.
We need a government that will make sure Americans are taken care of and organize the economy to serve the people, not the profits of a wealthy few.
We now have the techniques and the resources to get rid of poverty.
We got to start getting out there with the people.
Get out of the movement and get to the masses.
We need a government of action.
All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to have you with us here tonight. If folks could do me a favor, there's probably a few people in the chat who can do this. So my book on Kamala Harris and the Future of America, an essay in 3 parts, is banned from Amazon.com. That sucks. I was just on Jimmy Dore about it yesterday. I was on Kim Iverson. And it's been selling like hotcakes on Lulu all day. I mean, lots of copies have been selling. But in the last few hours, I've been getting emails from people telling me that it is no longer processing payments for it on Lulu, and the numbers on Lulu have stopped for the last couple hours. Not sure what's going on here. So could somebody try to go buy it on Lulu and see what happens? I sent an email to Lulu to see what's going on. I mean, I'm not getting a huge amount of emails, but I've gotten about 7 now saying that it won't process payment on Lulu, which is really unbelievable. Really, really unbelievable. I mean, this is really unbelievable. Why in the world am I not allowed to write a book about a woman who's running for president? Right? I mean, what in the world is going on here? If Lulu banned this book, so check it, please. Somebody, if you can just check it, see if it processes I mean, I've never seen anything like this. So yeah, if somebody can check and see if it doesn't go through, I just got a forum email, thank you for creating a support ticket. Our team usually responds within 48 hours. I just want to make sure that there's no, it could be an issue with people's credit cards or something, it could be just that there's so many of them selling. It needs to catch up, or it's making sure it's not fraudulent. That happens if the same product sells so much that they, but this is certainly not normal for a book that I sell. I mean, it's selling thousands of copies. So, but if someone could check on this, that would be great. If there's somebody in the chat who can check on it, right. Because yeah, it's been selling all day on Lulu, but now, so yeah. So if you can just check now and see, because in the last few hours, I've gotten about 7 or 8 emails from people saying that it's not processing, that it won't let them buy it on Lulu. I have no idea what's going on there with there. Yeah. I mean, this is craziness. And I really hope that this is just people having issues with their credit cards, or this is just a temporary snafu. I really hope I'm not banned, because it's live. It's for sale on Lulu. There doesn't seem to be any problems. It's not like Amazon where they just completely scrubbed it. Yeah. I've gotten multiple emails here saying, hey, Caleb, I'm very interested in purchasing your book. Lulu is no longer processing any sort of payment. I really hope this is just, credit card says authorization failed. I really hope this is just a mistake. Yeah, I'm really hoping it's just this. I really hope they're not banning me from there too. But if they are, we'll find another publisher, right? Because look, I have the right as an American citizen to publish this book. I do. I have that right. And, so has anyone in the chat been able to order it? Has it gone through? Has it gone through? Is this just a glitch on the website, or they flagged it because it's selling so many or something like that? Can somebody check, please? I got failed authorization. That's not a good sign. This is ridiculous. This is completely ridiculous, right? Can other people try to buy it on Lulu and see what happens? This is debit card fail. Oh my God. This is really some bullshit. Wow. This is really, really crazy. This is really, really crazy. I don't know what to say. Yeah, I mean, if you're able to, I really hope this is just a snafu on Lulu, but yeah, the numbers have been frozen for the last couple hours. Was selling all day like crazy, and now, this is, I have never seen anything like this. Yeah, this is crazy. Why am I not allowed to publish a book about Kamala Harris? Like, this is, I've never seen anything like this. I don't even know what to say. So, it says unknown, your payment authorization failed. Please verify your information and try again, or try another payment method. This is unbelievable. How are we okay with this, right? How is this okay? And there's no number I can call on Lulu. So now I have to find another book publisher, right? Okay. Alternatives to Lulu. Where else can I upload, a book, right? This is crazy. And it's not that hard to upload it. I already have the interior text made. So where do I, this is really, really unbelievable. I'm really hoping this is just a snafu on Lulu's part, but I'm losing money now because my book is the talk of the town, number one. This is ridiculous. How is this happening? What other publisher should we do, right? Should we find another publisher? Yeah, Lulu won't process. This is really, really bullshit. This is really, really bullshit, right? Yeah, this does sound like a lawsuit. This does sound like a lawsuit. What are they so afraid of? What is in this book that they are so afraid of? People are talking about how they wiped, Kamala Harris's record as an attorney. People are, this is really, really unbelievable. Why am I not allowed to write factual things? This is really unbelievable, right? And my book, it's not even that much of a hit piece. It's just pretty blatant. So yeah, I'm looking for, where do I upload it now? Right? Top sites like lulu.com. So you got lulu.com, you got bookbaby.com. Let's see if we can get it on Bookbaby, right? I can set up an account. I might have to get out everything. And this is unbelievable. I have never seen anything like this. I have never seen anything like this. Yeah, try Book Baby, I guess. I mean, this is, who do they think they are? I mean, isn't this America where we have freedom of speech? You know, where I can publish books criticizing one of the presidential candidates. This is unbelievable. This is really unbelievable. Okay, bookbaby.com. Let's see if they'll let me publish it here. Well, they at least have an 800 number. That's good. Okay, I'll sign in with my Google account, confirm, right? And they have an 800 number if we have a problem. Okay. All right. And we'll see. We'll get it up on BookBaby. Would you like to speak with a specialist? No, I would not. I would like to upload my book. Bookshop, resources. Okay, this looks like you can't just log in and, oh, self-publishing services. Okay, self-publish your book. Tell us the name. Tell us about your project and we'll call you. No, I don't want to do that. And no, I don't want to do that. This is ridiculous. This is completely and utterly ridiculous. Okay, so I'm not doing bookbaby.com because they want to call me and upsell me and whatever, and I don't want to do that. I put it up on Lulu. Sell your book on this site. I mean, this is really, really ridiculous. 5 ways to sell your book online. I mean, this is insanity. I need to speak to an attorney. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is completely ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, this is insanity, right? I mean, this is complete and utter insanity. I have the right to, you know, to sell my book, right? Thrift books, right? I don't know if you saw, but the version of it that is available on, which site is it? One of the sites, which one is it? One of the sites, the version of it, there's one place where it's available and it costs, oh, it's eBay, right? On eBay, there's original editions of it that cost like $900 because they're trying to outlaw this book. I mean, they don't want anyone to have it, right? On eBay, you can buy an original edition of it for $900 because you can't sell it anywhere, right? There you go. You know, yeah, I'm already talking to them. I'm talking to a lot of different people. Well, look, my same deal remains that if you cash at me, I will send you the PDF. You know, that remains in effect. And that remains in effect. And can I tweet that? Right? Or is then Cash App going to drop me? You know, I don't know. Can I tweet that? You know, this is really, I'm really hoping that this is just a snafu. I mean, this is ridiculous, right? This is just completely ridiculous. So yeah, my deal that I've been making on this stream remains that if it's not Lulu, it's all the payment processors. What does that mean? What's that mean? Right. I mean, I don't know what that means, right? So I'm pretty sure you can probably buy other things on Lulu right now, unless Lulu's experiencing an outage or PayPal's having an outage or something like that. But I mean, this is crazy. I mean, is there an outage going on right now? I don't think so. I think you can buy other things. You just can't buy this book. So Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there was an outage a few days ago, but that was the whole CrowdStrike thing. That's not what we're talking about here. So I don't know. Yeah. If you want to get the PDF of the book, my deal remains in effect, that I will send it to you. If you Cash App me $10 to Caleb Maupin 22, and please remember to include your email, because there's a couple people who didn't include their email, and then I didn't know where to send it. But Cash App me $10 to Caleb Maupin 22, and include your email. I'll send the PDF. So if you want it this way, I can send it to you this way. This is insanity. This is just complete and utter insanity. I am an American citizen. I wrote this book. No one's contested any of the information in the book. I have the right to say what I say, right? I have the right to say this. This is completely insane. This is just completely insane. I've never seen anything like this. So yeah, my deal remains in effect. If you Cash App me $10, Caleb Maupin 22, and include your email, I'll send you the PDF. So that deal remains in effect. Should I tweet this out or not? Right? I don't know if I should tweet this out. Does this then get me banned from Cash App, or does this, what is the results of me tweeting this out? This is absolutely insane. This is completely and utterly insane. Right? And this is completely nuts. Yeah. This is completely insane. Completely insane. I don't know what to say here. I really don't know what to say here. All right. Well, here's an option. All right. Here's an option, right? Do we upload it again to Lulu? I don't want to start doing stuff like that, because that's where you start messing, yeah. Look, we have printers we work with. We have the Do You Believe in Growth pamphlet, right? We have that, right? But this is getting crazy. Talk to lawyers first before your next move. So, yeah, this is particularly nuts. This is completely nuts. This is completely nuts. And, I don't know what to say. This is completely crazy. So yeah. All right. Well, there you go. There you go. Let's see what happens. I need to speak to an attorney. That seems pretty clear. And I'm hoping, there's a chance this is just a snafu with the website. I'm hoping that that's the case. But we shall see. We shall see that maybe it flagged it, because I don't normally sell thousands of books like this. I'm hoping that this is just a snafu with the credit card companies or something, because yeah, you're right. It is not normal for me to sell this many books, but I have a right to be heard, right? I have a right to be heard. So, but yeah, like I said, my deal remains in effect. If you just want the PDF of the book, Cash at me $10 to Caleb Maupin 22. Include your email. Please include your email because of the fact that a lot of people have not been including their emails. And well, not a lot, a couple people. And I've had to like message them through Cash App, which is not easy to do, and get their email before I send it to them. But, this is exactly what's happening here is exactly what people with Trump derangement syndrome say will happen under Biden. So, yeah. No, it's, yeah. So the least they could do is try to buy you out. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the amount of entitlement that they have. But anyway, look, I could talk about this for 2 hours, and that's not what you all came here to see. If you can't buy it from Lulu, please tweet about it. Please screenshot and tweet about it. Obviously don't screenshot anything with your credit card in it or anything like that. Make sure you leave your credit card out, but let's let them know, right? I tried ordering your book through Lulu and it didn't go through. So I tried ordering CPI's book on Castro on Lulu and it went through. Yeah, this is some bullshit, man. This is some bullshit. And I have never seen anything like this. This is really unbelievable. I don't want to focus on this. But like this is nuts, right? So yeah. This is crazy. So I need to speak to an attorney immediately. Like this is, I mean, I wrote this book years ago. So, okay. Well, it's good. All right. Yeah, it's very obvious what's happening. Right. And for all the people who say, oh, what you do, Caleb, it doesn't matter. I think it matters. Right? All the people who say, oh, CPI doesn't matter. What you do, it doesn't matter. I think it matters. And if you don't think that there are sinister forces that control things, I mean, there are. So, we need a legal team here. This is absolutely crazy. And, there's a lot of months left in this election. And, yeah, this is absolutely nuts. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to, if this isn't just some snafu with Lulu and it doesn't get corrected soon, I'm going to have to speak to an attorney and we'll file a lawsuit. And I mean, this should be front page news. I think this should be front page news. Because this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm allowed to criticize Kamala Harris. But anyway, we don't want to talk about this for the entire stream. So my policy that I always have, the way these streams go, I give my opening remarks, and then I do the roll call, and then I call you all out as I see you. Names and locations. And then after that, we do a roll call. And I answer all your questions that you send in. Super chat, Rumble rant, etc. So if you got something you want me to talk about in the second half of the show, by all means, send in a super chat or a Rumble rant. Super chat on YouTube, Rumble rant on YouTube. And on that note, I'm going to jump into my opening remarks for tonight. I do want to remind you all before I do that, look, at the end of the day, the most important thing is our community, right? The most important thing is our community. The Center for Political Innovation. And every morning we have a morning message from the Center for Political Innovation every morning. So, we support each other as a community, and that's why we exist. This world is coming apart, and we exist to support each other in all this insanity, like what we're watching right now. This is complete insanity. And we support each other amid all of this. And so, tomorrow we have a stream, a morning message scheduled for tomorrow. So tune in and just every morning listen to a morning message from the Center for Political Innovation. Tune in for a morning message. Good stuff. Good stuff. And if you would like to submit a morning message, we do have a vehicle now for people to just submit it. And it's important. I need people to step up and submit morning messages because we need to show that this community is more than just me. And on top of that, we need to support each other. We need people to be constantly engaged. So submit a morning message. Great way to submit a morning message is through here. So if you would like to just take a couple minutes and record a morning message. The last one we had was from our friend Phil High about his petition on healthcare. Really amazing. We got one scheduled for tomorrow. It's really great. And we got great stuff going on. Right. We got great stuff going on at this point. So yeah. Tune in for the morning messages on the Center for Political Innovation YouTube channel. We do those. And on that note, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm just going to continue with this stream. And I've said that like 6 times. I'm actually going to do it now. I gave this stream the title, "There is no scarcity. The universe is ours." I gave it that title because this is a way that I have learned to think. And I come at things largely from a Marxist perspective. Not completely Marxist. I do believe in the existence of God. I do believe in the power of ideas. I'm not a pure dialectical materialist. But I largely come at things from a Marxist perspective. And the Marxist perspective, obviously, there are a variety of different interpretations. But the general understanding of Marxism and dialectical or a historical materialism is that history, human history and human civilization, is defined by a specific reality, which is that all other species, except for humanity, they only interact with their environment. But humanity masters the environment. This is Frederick Engels. Humanity masters the environment and forces it to serve him. And it is this distinction that separates humanity from all other animals. And that is in Frederick Engels' very important essay, The Role of Labor in the Transition from Ape to Man. That we force the environment to serve us when no other species can do that. Beavers have been making their beaver dams the same way for thousands of years. Ants have been making their ant farms the same way for thousands of years. But in just a few thousand years, human beings have gone from hunter-gatherers in the woods to space travel and iPhones. And there is something uniquely special about humanity. And I want us all to just take a moment and breathe. I want us all to just take a moment and breathe. Because I want you to feel your breath. I want you to hear your own heartbeat. Because there are some things that are constant. There are some things that are reliable. There are some things that you can count on. And time is marching forward. Time is marching forward. And human history is defined by the creative power of human beings, by our ability to interact with our environment and force our environment to serve us. And to revolutionize the way in which we do this. Hunter-gatherer civilization, which is the majority of human existence, went away because we got so good at it. We got so good at hunting and gathering that it couldn't continue because we developed spears and rocks, and we were so good at hunting animals. Because we picked up on the patterns of the way plants grew, and we knew how to do it. And history started speeding forward. Because human beings, with our creativity, had ascended to a higher plane. It became unsustainable to maintain agriculture, or to maintain hunting and gathering. We had to develop agriculture. We had to start growing our own food. And that humanity is defined by this constant reinvention, by this constant drive for progress, by this constant struggle to reinvent our relationship with nature. That is what defines humanity. That is what defines humanity. We constantly move to a higher plane. We constantly advance and reinvent our relationship with nature. And through doing that, we provide a greater life, a more comfortable life for ourselves. We increase our population. We increase our life expectancy. And this is what defines humanity, is our constant drive to increase. And that they're constantly trying to tell us that there are, quote, limited resources. Limited resources. And they're not wrong in this regard. I mean, there is material substance, but they seem to not understand the way human beings work when they lecture us about limited resources. Because if we were still heating our homes with firewood and charcoal, we would have deforested the planet a long time ago. And if we were still acquiring oil the same way we acquired it in the 1950s and 60s, we would have run out of oil a long time ago. But we're constantly reinventing our relationship with nature. We don't use firewood to heat our homes anymore. We use coal and gas, electricity. In addition to that, we don't sorry, I'm getting a text here. Again, this has been a crazy day. This is a crazy day. But humanity is defined by aiming higher. That is what it really means to be human. It is to want more than you already have, to want a better life for your children than you had, to make a more comfortable existence. That's what it really means to be human. That's a definitive aspect of humanity. And when you get out of that mindset, when you get into the space of thinking there's only so much in the world, of thinking that the pie is only this big, that's where things get very ugly very quickly. Because if the pie is only this big, the only way that you can get a bigger slice is to cut into somebody else's. And no one ever believes that their slice of the pie is too big. Nobody ever believes that. Nobody ever says, you know what, I've got too comfortable of a life. I'm too happy. No one says that. And when you decide the pie is only this big, that's where all the ugly, evil things start to crawl in. That's where things get very ugly. When the pie is only this big. You know, when the pie is only this big. That's when people become hostile. That's when people become negative. That's when people become racist, sexist. Right? It's when they get into this mindset that there's only so much. There's only so much in the world. And the only way I can gain is by taking it away from somebody else. And if I lose, it's because I don't have what someone else has. Right? This is all a very, very, very dangerous mindset. And if you want to find happiness in the world, one of the main ways that you can find happiness is to create. To build. To build something, to construct something. That is one of the main ways human beings are able to find happiness. By creating. By using their creative ability to innovate, to design. This is what defines human existence. And if you can create as an artist, as an engineer, as a painter, as a sculptor, if you can go out and work hard and achieve something and build something up with your labor, build a good home, etc., that brings you satisfaction. Not taking it from somebody else, not going to somebody else and saying, I should have what you have, and taking it from them. But going out and building. That is how people find fulfillment in this world. It's human labor that defines all wealth. Human labor that creates all the wealth in existence. And it is through creating that people find fulfillment. That's how people find fulfillment. And it is really, really important not to get into the scarcity mindset. It's really, really important not to define what you have in relation to other people. And this is what I think Marxists are accused of. People who don't really understand socialism or Marxism, what they think it is they think it's the redistribution of income. And that's what they believe socialism is. They believe socialism is simply the redistribution of income. And they see those of us who are advocates of socialism as seeing that some people have bigger incomes than others. And they see us as angry about it. And they say, well, that's not a good way to be. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong. And this word income inequality, that's a big trendy term in socialist circles. That word's got to be gotten rid of. Income inequality. You know, we're not fighting against income inequality. What we're fighting against is a system where the means of production, the centers of economic power, are organized in a way that poverty is created by abundance. That the abundance that exists cannot be enjoyed by all of humanity. That's what we're fighting against. We're fighting against a system where people are homeless because there are too many houses. We're fighting against a system where people become hungry because there is too much food. And I cannot repeat myself enough on these streams. I know that I say the same things over and over and over again, but it's because nobody says these things. This used to be just standard understanding of the problems of capitalism, but nobody says these things. So I have to say them. I've said it many times on these streams, the coal miner's riddle. There's a little boy, and he says to his father, "Why is it so cold in our home?" The father says to the boy, "Because I can't afford to buy any coal to heat our house." And the little boy says to the father, he says, "Why can't we afford any coal to heat our house?" And he says, "Because I lost my job at the coal mine. I was laid off from being a coal miner." And the little boy says, "Why did you lose your job as a coal miner? Why were you laid off from the coal mine?" And the father says, "Because there is too much coal." That's capitalism. Poverty created by abundance. Poverty created by abundance. That's capitalism. Self-driving cars. What could possibly be wrong with self-driving cars? If cars drove themselves, could you imagine that? All the people that have to spend their days driving would spend their days doing something else. It should be a great thing. But under our system, self-driving cars would lead to riots in the street, mass unemployment, hunger. This is not rational. This is not rational. What kind of society is it where self-driving cars, a great leap in human technological transportation advancement, what kind of society is it where self-driving cars would lead to an economic disaster? What kind of society is it where people become homeless because there are too many houses? Where people become hungry because there's too much food? People get cold in the wintertime because there's too much heating gas. Where the more wealth that is created, the poorer people get. This is the problem of the capitalist mode of production. It's holding back human creativity. It creates a situation where the better we get at building and the better we get at advancing, the poorer everyone gets, because our human creativity, our technological brilliance cannot fit into the narrow boxes of a system where profits are in command. That's the problem with capitalism. Capitalism is a restraint on human growth. It is a restraint on human creativity. It prevents human beings from growing and expanding and building as they are capable of doing. And what we need is a rationally organized economy. A rationally organized economy so that human growth is no longer restricted by the irrationality of the market. So that abundance does not create poverty. That is what we need. We need a rationally organized economy. We need a rationally organized economy with the major centers of economic power under public ownership so they can be rationally controlled. And within a socialist planned economy, there's room for the market. There's room for people to start their own business, to invent something new, to be creative. 21st century socialism has made that clear. There is room for people to start their own businesses, tech startups, restaurants, hotels. These things are necessary. But there need to be rational controls on the major means of production. There need to be rational controls on the major means of production so that growth can expand. And the whole point of socialism is getting over the irrationality of the market, getting over the problem of poverty created by abundance, getting over the problem of human technological advancement leading to poverty, rationally organizing and centralizing the instruments of production so that growth can continue, no longer restrained. And so we can go toward the ultimate goal of a world of vast abundance. A world where no more do people have to be homeless because there are too many houses, where a world where there's so much wealth that exists so much wealth that exists that people can just do what they need to do what they feel like doing, from each according to their own ability, to each according to their needs. So much wealth, so much abundance, there's no need for a government, no need for a state. There's really pretty much equality because everyone has access to the vast abundance that exists, and there's no need to hoard anything. Where people work to entertain themselves, to be creative for the joy of being creative, not because it is necessary for society, where labor becomes life's prime want, no longer a necessity. That is the goal. It is letting the creative power of mankind flourish. That is ultimately what socialism and communism are about. And this problem built into the capitalist system, poverty amid plenty, poverty created by abundance, that problem is becoming ever more blatant in our time. And the need to overcome it with rational control of the economy is more obvious than ever before. And so we have to keep talking about these things. We have to keep saying what needs to be said. We have to keep pounding the podium about this. And there are no get-rich-quick schemes. There are no shortcuts. And we have to get to ordinary people with this message. And we have to explain anti-imperialism and how the people around the world who are struggling against American imperialism are our allies. And our real enemy is here at home. It's the big banks and corporations here at home that are exploiting the world and making us poorer. Ultra monopolies that are impoverishing this country, that are also trying to destroy Russia and China and Venezuela and Iran and all the countries that have broken out of this system. It is our responsibility to build the movement we need. It is our responsibility to organize with people we know and build a community of people who've come together around these ideas and can carry out successful operations. Successful operations to spread anti-imperialism and to challenge the emerging low-wage police state and to oppose the drive toward World War III. That is our responsibility. It's not easy, and there's no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts, and there's no get-rich-quick scheme. There's nothing that we do that just makes us explode and go viral, and then we have 1 million members, and then everything's fine. There's no way you can just set up a website and declare yourself the vanguard and have people all join you en masse. You have to do the work. And the work is hard. And the work is messy. And the work is difficult. And it causes us to lose our patience sometimes. But you have to do the work. You have to do the work. And if you do the work and you have a network of people who will work together and can rely on each other and can get things done, you can change the world. And our organization, the Center for Political Innovation, we have done that with our little resources and our few hundred members. We have changed the world. We have changed the conversation in so many ways. We published a book that they are so determined to outlaw. That was what my whole opening of the stream was about. Right? We have done so much to change the course of world events. I mean, with our small group of people, you see when we confronted Tsai Ing-wen, the Taiwan president. Did you see that? You've seen that clip? Here. Do I have that clip here? Right? Do I have that clip? Confronting Tsai Ing-wen. Oh, I've got that clip somewhere. But we have done things that have gone viral globally. We have interacted with people. We've put on conferences. We've done very, very important things with our organization. With just a small group of people, we've been able to do really important things. And I'm proud of the things that we have done, and I want to keep doing them. And the things that we have done are clearly a threat to the status quo. This is just 5 of us. 5 people from our organization, 2 banners, 1 bullhorn. We knew that the president, or so-called president, of Taiwan was coming to New York City to beg for more weapons to provoke a war with China. We didn't like that. And this is what we did. Again, did this take a lot of people? No. Did this take millions of dollars? No. We got a couple banners and a bullhorn. This is what we did.
This does not represent what the American people want. All the polls show that the American people don't want a new war. The American people are sick and tired of our money being wasted on bombs and weapons and destruction, provoking a war with China, provoking a war with Russia, while our trains are derailing, people in the United States are suffering, our water's not being purified, our railroads are falling apart, our power grids are falling apart, and yet we pour more and more weapons and money into some stupid confrontation with China. China is not our enemy. Wall Street bankers are our enemy. No more provocations against China. China is not our enemy. 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 Get out of our country. Stop trying to sell war in our country. Stop trying to sell war in our country. We don't want a new war with China. We love America and we don't want a new war with China. China is not our enemy. Stop trying to sell war. Get out of our country. Stop trying to sell war. China is not our enemy. I'm a patriotic American. I love my country and I don't want World War III.
Yeah, we did that. And that exploded all over Chinese media. That was a huge thing that we did. Right? And that was 5 people. And we couldn't have done it. And that wasn't just me. If it had just been me, I would have been one nutty guy with a bullhorn. I would have been just one nutty guy with a bullhorn. But we had the banners that were designed by our members on the other side of the country. And we had the bullhorn and we had 5 people there and we intervened and we did something. Part of being an adult, this is really interesting, is just knowing what you can do. And I would say that, that's part of what they call maturity in any sense, is knowing what you can do. Knowing your own strength, knowing your own capabilities, and thinking, I can do this, and going out and doing it. And then thinking, thinking I can do this. I can do this. And doing it, and then saying, okay, maybe I can do that, and doing it. It's a constant experiment. What can you do? Right? I thought, hey, I could write a book about Kamala Harris. I did the research. I came across some information. I thought I could do it, and I did it. And look what's happening. It's shaking the world. It's all over, and they've banned it from websites. It's making international headlines all over the world. I'm doing it. Right? It was something I thought, I can write a book. I know somebody who does layouts. I know somebody who does cover designs. I've written books before for Amazon. I can do it. Right? And that's what maturity means. It means you accurately estimate your own strength. And you think, what can I do to change the world? And you go out and do it. And that's all that the Center for Political Innovation has ever done. We've said, this is something that we can do. Let us try to do it. And then we do it. And if we're not able to do it, we go back to the drawing board. We say, okay, we weren't able to do this thing, but what can we do better? That's all we've ever tried to do. That's all we have ever tried to do. That is all we have ever wanted to do. Is that. That is all that we've ever done, and we've done it very successfully because we just constantly say, look, what can we do? And that there's a trap, and this is a really important thing. I want to get this out there. There's a trap that a lot of people fall into in so many different areas of life and political activism and their career and everything. There's a trap that people fall into. Which is, on the one hand, being demoralized, and on the other hand, making unrealistic plans that they have no intention of ever carrying out. And I know so many people who do this. On the one hand, they go, I can't do anything. They have no motivation. Right? They have no drive to go and do things. They have no creativity. They have no, it's very hard to get them off their couch. They just want to stare at their phone all day, on the one hand. And on the other hand, if you talk to them, they have these ridiculous expectations. You know, they think they're going to be a movie star. You ask them, what do you want to be? Oh, I want to be a Hollywood actor. Well, have you been to theater school? No. Have you taken an acting class? No. Well, how do you want to be a movie star then? I'm not seeing this. Oh, well, I want to sit on my couch. I just want to keep sitting on my couch. But when I'm fantasizing, I fantasize I want to be a movie star. Well, maybe you can't be a movie star. Or maybe you can, but it takes some time. But you got to start with some acting classes. But there's a lot of people that just get stuck in this trap. You know, and it's not my job to help people who don't want to be helped. That is not my job. It is not my job to help people who want to be helped. It is not my job, who don't want to be helped, that is. It is not my job to try and fix people's lives. But I've seen so many people that get stuck. They just get stuck. And it's a mindset. It's a scarcity mindset. They make unrealistic plans they could never fulfill. And they also don't even have the will to carry out anything. And those unrealistic goals that they make and their lack of motivation walk hand in hand. Because if they had realistic goals, they could carry them out. But the thing is, those realistic goals come with risks. What if you fail? What if it doesn't go well? What if you face rejection? What if it doesn't go as you intended? Every time you make a realistic goal and attempt to carry it out, you are testing yourself. And what if you don't pass the test? Well, you know what you do? You survive. And you get up and you try again. And you get up and you try again. And you get up and you try again. And this may sound corny and hokey, and it may sound like some kind of stupid self-help thing, but it's true, right? It's a trap that people get into. And CPI, we have always just said, what can we do to promote anti-imperialism? What can we do to promote socialist and anti-imperialist ideas to advance toward a society where human creativity and growth can expand and we're no longer held back by the irrationality of profits and command? What can we do to build our community? What can we do? And we huddle up and we decide, hey, we can do this, and we go out and do it. That's what we do. That's what we do. We huddle up. We huddle up. We decide what we can do, and we do it. That's what we do. And one thing I have heard endlessly, there's always somebody who has to give you permission. And this is one thing I cannot stand. Right? There's a radio station here in New York City called WBAI. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's like a liberal, hippie radio station. And they do good work. I mean, I've been on WBAI shows many times. I know people who've worked there in the past. I know people who work there right now. Great radio show, but it's a community radio show, meaning that you buy memberships, people buy membership, and the members get to elect the board. And it's like a, community radio station. There are so many old communists that I know that listen to WBAI religiously. They listen to it every day. And they are constantly playing this long game of 3D chess. If only we could seize control of WBAI, then what? But there are all kinds of people who just sit around. Oh, the WBAI, then so-and-so, this faction is in there. But we're going to move in and we're going to take it from this faction. And we're going to have the votes at the committee. And we're going to get the... And it's complete and utter silliness. Especially nowadays, just start a YouTube channel. Hey, you want to get your voice out there? You don't have to take over WBAI and get all the votes. Just go start a YouTube channel. And I hear all these people, oh, we're going to go inside the unions and we're going to infiltrate them and take them over. No, you're not. The unions are controlled by the Democrat Party. The unions are a vehicle through which the Democratic Party does its campaigning and fundraising. You know, unions are important. They should exist, but they're very corrupt, the ones that currently exist. And the Communist Party in the 1930s, they didn't wait to take over the AFL. They went out and they organized the Trade Union Unity League. And then when there was a split in the AFL, they got involved in building the CIO. They didn't sit around and wait, oh, if we could only just take over the AFL. No. You find a loophole, you find a door, you walk through it, boring from within, like William Z. Foster said, but you don't wait. If only I can get the majority of the votes, I'm going to form the radical faction and I'm going to go to the union meeting and I'm going to outvote him and I'm going to follow Robert's Rules of Order and then I'll be able to do something. No, don't wait. Right? There's so many people that are stuck waiting for some institution to give them permission. Right? There were some clowns trying to take over the Communist Party. And I said to them, do you know how many times that's been tried? Do you know how many people have tried to take over the Communist Party? You're not going to take over the Communist Party. And their response was, but don't they have a constitution? We can get the majority of the votes. No, you can't. No, you can't. The Communist Party is a decaying old remnant of another time, and it is certain people's property. It's their income. It's their livelihood, and they're not going to let you play Model UN and take over the Communist Party. It's not going to happen, okay? It's not going to happen. You're just not going to be able to do that. And I told them this, and they didn't listen to me. No, they knew. And when we were out organizing protests, they were, oh, we're going to play 3D chess. We're going to get in there and try to take over the Communist Party. Well, it didn't happen. They didn't take over the Communist Party. Right? And I told them they wouldn't be able to take over the Communist Party. And did they listen to me? No. And I mean, they don't have to listen to me. But while they were trying to take over the Communist Party, you know what we did? We just went out and did what the Communist Party is supposed to do. Center for Political Innovation taught classes that the Communist Party doesn't teach. Center for Political Innovation had anti-imperialist rallies that the Communist Party wasn't having. We went out and did what it is that the Communist Party is supposed to be doing. And the Communist Party was so freaked out, they published an article on their website, which they never do. Millions of Trotskyite groups have tried to take over the Communist Party. They ignore them. Millions of Maoist groups, not millions, but many Maoist groups have tried to take over the Communist Party. We didn't. We did not try to take over the Communist Party. We had nothing to do with that effort. We just went out and did our thing. And the Communist Party was so freaked out and threatened by us that on the one hand, they published a stupid hit piece on their website about us. On the other hand, they went to people in our organization and paid them to talk shit against us. Right? The Communist Party was so terrified of us. Why? Because we just went out and did it. Right? If you're on the highway and somebody is in front of you and they're going slow, do you just stay behind them and honk your horn real loud? No, you go around them and you just do it anyway. And that's been the whole basis of the Center for Political Innovation. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. And one of the reasons, first of all, let me throw this out there. CPI has always allowed dual membership in any party, Democrat, Republican, Communist, Socialist, whatever. We're not a party. We're a group that exists to do the job. There's a job that needs to be done, and we exist to do it. This book needed to be published, and that's why the Center for Political Innovation published the book, because it needed to be published. It needed to be published, so we published it. It needed to be published. It needed to be done. We did it, right? Somebody had to stand with Russia and make clear that Russia is not our enemy. So we did it, right? There's shit that needs to be done. So Center for Political Innovation was formed to get that shit done. I don't care if I'm the leader of the revolution. I don't care if I have the most likes and tweets and shares. There's shit that needs to be done. I formed CPI to get that shit done. That is why it exists. There is shit that needs to be done, and I have formed the organization, and I'm trying to find people with whom I can work to get the shit done. And I don't care if you're in another group at the same time. And I don't care if you're a Buddhist or a Muslim or a Hindu or you know, what will you help me get the shit done that I need done? Okay, great. Come along. Great. Glad to have you. Let's get the shit done. That has always been my mindset. I have a job to do, which is to promote anti-imperialism, to teach revolutionary ideology, to bring this movement into the future, to get past the ugly part of communism, the woke stuff, and build a real constructive movement that's a lot like Christianity, based on love and compassion and understanding the evils of imperialism and wanting a society where there's enough for all. Right? I have a job to do. And if you want to do the job with me, come along. And if you don't want to do the job with me, there's the door, or don't come along in the first place. It's fine. And it is with that mindset that we have done what we can do. And it drives people crazy. Right? You saw there were goofballs in the chat earlier tonight. I just blocked them. I don't care. And I'll block them. Some other goofball was like making weird jokes, right? There are some people that just can't stand this, and it seethes. They just seethe with jealousy. What are you jealous of? You want your book banned from Amazon also? I mean, you know, I'm trying to get shit done here, right? I'm trying to get shit done. And you could do the same thing if you had the same mindset, and you could do it with us, and we would have promoted you. I mean, it's like, but you get these people that just, they're in a scarcity mindset. You know, certain people are convinced the only way they can succeed is if I vanish. Well, that's not true. You can succeed with me being here, right? Certain people are convinced that oh my God, I've got to go take over WBAI. I've got to go take over the Communist Party. I got to go join the labor movement and form the radical. No, just do it. Just do it. And don't do it by yourself. Don't do it with me. But don't hate me because I'm doing it. Don't hate me. And that I cannot stand. The competitiveness. Right? That people who claim to agree with me, claim to stand for the same things I stand for, every time I do something that accomplishes something toward what they're standing for, they seethe with anger. It's so stupid. It really is. It really is stupid. It's really, really stupid. And, you know, this is how our enemy rules over us, right? And this is how our enemy triumphs, right? This is how our enemy is able to win out, is they have this attitude of, you know, all of us are too busy, you know, being jealous of each other. We assume that the pie is only this big, right? That if I accomplish something, I'm taking it away from them, right? Even if we're all working toward the same cause. This is a disaster. It's a disaster. And people try to turn this back around on me. Well, Caleb, you know, you formed CPI so you could be the boss. You formed, you know, well, did I form it so I could be the boss? No. I formed it because if I joined one of these other outfits, if I joined the Workers' World Party, which I was in for 8 years, I was in the Workers' World Party. 8 years I stayed in that group and tried to get things done inside the group and tried to get it to be better. But if I were still in the Workers' World Party, or if I was in the Communist Party, or if I was in the Socialist Workers' Party, or one of these parties, I wouldn't be able to do any of the shit that I'm doing, because I'd have to ask the committee. I'd have to ask the committee of all, and there'd be somebody standing over me going, "No, you're not allowed to do this." So why would I do that? Why would I, for the sake of having a membership card in one of these groups, why would I give up my ability to do what needs to be done? Why would I do that? Right? I have a job that needs to be done. There are people who want to do this job with me, and I have organized them to help get the job done. And if you want to come do the job with me, great. If you don't. You know what I mean? I mean, that's always just been my attitude. And if I joined one of these groups for the sake of having a membership card, I wouldn't be able to do the job, because I'd have to ask somebody's permission, some high up leader, you know, for permission. And how is that helpful? Well, then you're in the group. Well, okay. I mean, no, that's not how these things work, right? There's a job that needs to be done. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Tyler, I love you, brother. I love Tyler McConnell. right? This guy is an awesome guy. This guy is my brother, and Gabby is my sister, right? And Gabby is awesome. And I owe both of you. I owe both of you and many others too, but you two in particular, I owe a lot to, right? I owe a lot to both of you, and I am going to acknowledge both of you. Gabby has put up with an endless amount of bullshit in the last week, but earlier than that, because Gabby understands how important what CPI is doing is. And she doesn't appreciate people trying to tear us apart. And she's working hard, and she understands what we need to do, which is recruit ordinary people and win them to these ideas, not build an internet fandom. And Tyler is amazing, because if there's ever been any writer who's helped me to come to terms with my own worldview, right, it has been Wallace Wattles. And I am somebody who has struggled in the past with issues. I'm not claiming I'm perfect. I have my own struggles and my own hardships in life. And, I'm not going to go into great detail about them because that would not be helpful, but I've had my own struggles. And I have always found that, again, it is through doing creative work. It is through connecting with other people and engaging in creative work that I can find satisfaction and I can find happiness. And when I read Wallace Wattles, this great socialist, Christian socialist from the early 1900s, when I read his books about Jesus, when I read his books about the science of being great, the science of getting rich, that is the message that I need to hear. And it was Tyler who brought that message to me. I would never in a million years have ever heard of Wallace D. Wattles if it wasn't for Tyler. And this whole understanding, we're doing something really, really special here. We're doing something really, really special here. And we've got the book that was heard round the world. This book was heard round the world. This book that's shaking the world, that Kamala Harris is so afraid of. She's called up Amazon and now Lulu to get them to take down. This is crazy. We have done amazing things with our organization. We will continue to do amazing things. And we do them because they need to be done, and we do them because we find fulfillment and happiness through doing them, because this is what being a human being is about. And we do them because this is what being a human being is. This is how human beings have always found happiness. So they've come together, and as a group, they've learned to be compassionate with each other, and they've learned to tolerate each other's mistakes, and they've learned to listen to each other, and they've learned the beauty of coming together in a group. I remember when I was in high school, I was getting into communism and all of that, but I was also in the marching band. And when we would play very patriotic songs in the marching band, I was confused. We'd play the Battle Hymn of the Republic. We'd play When Johnny Comes Marching Home. I was confused as I was walking up and down the field in my marching band uniform, playing my trombone. I thought, I shouldn't like this. I'm not supposed to like this. Right? I'm not supposed to enjoy this. Right? I'm supposed to be against this militarism, this patriotism, this conformity. Right? I'm not supposed to like this. But I loved it. I loved it. And I love those marching songs. I love marches. I love military music. And I thought, I'm an anti-imperialist. I'm anti-war. I'm against the American government. I was reading about the hippies in the 60s. I shouldn't like this, but I did. Well, I liked it because I liked being part of a group. I liked it because I liked that sense of pulling together to achieve something. And when I go to communist countries, that is what I see. In Venezuela, when I meet those Bolivarian youth that live in the colectivos and the communes. In Russia, when I meet with the communist youth of the world, the Komsomols, the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union of Vietnam, and the movement of the Fifth in Russia, when I see young people in uniforms and young people that have an ideology and young people that are working together to achieve big things, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the brilliance of human beings working together. I'm seeing the brilliance of human beings not backing down. I'm seeing the creativity of human beings on display, and the idea that if we pull together, we can march toward the world of vast abundance, the world without scarcity, the world without poverty. We can raise our countries up. We can defeat those dark forces that want to hold humanity back. We are marching forward. That's what I see. It is the brilliance. And that is what I seek to build in our community. That is what I seek to construct with the Center for Political Innovation. This is what I need. This is the only way I've ever known to be happy. I'll just tell you that. The only happiness that I have ever found has been in organizations. The only place I've ever felt like I belonged. The only place I've found satisfaction has been in organizations with other people. And after there was a very vicious attack leveled against me 2 years ago, I was directly told by certain people, you need to stop organizing. That's what they said to me. You need to stop organizing. And I heard that, and at first of all, I didn't know what that meant. I was like, what does that mean? And they said, well, just make a YouTube video. Just make a YouTube video, do some streaming, maybe write an article here and there, but don't build an organization. Don't build an organization. You can't be doing that. And I thought, why not? Why not? And what would be the point? What would be the point? What would be the point? Why would I write books if I didn't think those books could lead to people organizing and coming together and changing the world? Why would I be on here streaming if I wasn't hoping that you would hear this and be motivated to oppose imperialism and be part of a community and stand in solidarity against imperialism? What would be the goddamn point? If I was not organizing, why would I be doing any of this? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, oh, you can continue to be a voice. You can write articles. You can give, but don't organize. So what? What would be the point of writing articles if I wasn't organizing? What would be the point? I would hope no one reads them. I would write them in the hopes that no one reads them, or I would hope people did read them and go, and then went on with their lives. Like, no, I write as an organizer writes. I speak as an organizer speaks. The point is to change it. Philosophers have only analyzed the world, said Marx. The point, however, is to change it. I don't understand what purpose does any of this serve if it is not involved in organizing. That makes no sense to me. So when that person said to me, oh, you must stop organizing, I thought that's odd. But I also am starting to realize, and this is why I've been on edge a little bit. This is why I'm having, even though I made thousands of dollars on Lulu today before it apparently shut down my book here. That's why I'm a little nervous about what might happen. A little nervous about it. That's interesting. Oh, I sold a Fidel Castro book. Not a Kamala book. That's interesting. There you go. But this is why I'm a little bit nervous about what might happen. Because it feels like when that person said to me I should stop organizing, they weren't just saying, that was their opinion of what the best use of my time would be. It appears that that is the feeling of some very dark forces in this world. If I was just on social media, they could make sure, I got a little bit of attention or whatever. And if I was just writing articles here and there, they could make sure, he gets a little attention here or there. But when I'm organizing, when I've got a group of people who agree with what I'm saying, and agree with what I'm doing, that is something they want to smash. That is something they want to stop. And that's been made. I mean, that's what I'm starting to realize. All I know how to do is organize, and that is the one thing that they don't want me to do. If I didn't do that, I would be a lot safer. A lot of the persecution that I have endured would not have happened if I had not been organizing. And there's a lot of people that are pretending to organize and not organizing, and I wish them well. They're building internet fan clubs, internet clubs, and they're being silly, and that's fine, but I'm actually organizing. I'm actually doing shit. I'm actually getting people together. I'm building a network of people who have these beliefs and have this ideology and understanding and are capable of carrying out operations, right? Capable of doing things like confronting Sa Ing-wen, capable of publishing books, capable of, doing things to promote anti-imperialism here in the United States. That's what I'm doing, and that's what we need. And that's what we can do, right? And again, I'm not fantasizing that we're forming the vanguard, that we're going to be storming the Winter Palace and all that. We're not. But what we can do is we can build a network of people who can get something done and can carry out operations and can support each other and can teach this ideology and teach this understanding. We can do this. We can get it done. And this is a realistic goal that we have made for ourselves, and it's because we have realistic expectations, and we're constantly trying out what are we capable of doing, what are we not capable of doing. We're constantly experimenting with that, constantly trying it out, and the results speak for themselves. And we're resilient. We're resilient, and we're showing people that you can build an organization. You can get things done. We're surviving. We're getting through this. I don't know what's going to happen with this Kamala Harris book. I'm speaking to an attorney. That's very clear to me. I'm going to be speaking to an attorney because this is utter insanity, what I'm seeing right here. But we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. I will say that hold on. Somebody just sent in their $10 for the book. So I'm sending them the book right now, right? And that offer stands, right, with Cash App, right? If you are on Cash App, right, and you would like to send me $10, I will just send you the PDF of the book. Just make sure you include your email, please. A couple people forgot their email. It became very confusing. So yes, if you send $10 on Cash App to Caleb Maupin 22, include your email, I'll send you the PDF. I'll send you the PDF. Right? And we'll just keep doing this, right? I don't know what's going to happen with this. I think this is very, very scary. I mean, if they are this determined to keep my book from getting out there, I'm on a lot of lists right now. That's very clear. And God forbid this crazy woman become president. I'll just tell you that much. I'm in a lot more danger than having my books removed if she becomes president. God forbid. Good night. Good night. This is just a taste of what would happen under a Kamala Harris presidency. The Uhuru movement have been indicted. I mean, no one talks about the Uhuru case. And now, this, I'm not even allowed to publish a book and circulate it that criticizes her. This whole idea that Trump is going to be a dictator, this is insanity, what we're dealing with right now. And that's why I have been so focused on the Uhuru case. This is one thing that drives me crazy. Where is the activism for the Uhuru movement? The Uhuru folks, I want to support them, and some people in our group have done amazing things to support them and all this, but they say to me, Caleb, your group has done so much for us. Well, no, we haven't. We've done what we can do. Where is everyone else? Where is the ACLU? Where is the National Lawyers Guild? Where is every socialist, leftist, communist, every dissident in America? Every person who is at all concerned about free speech should be supporting Jesse Neville and Penny Hess and Chairman O'Malley right now. My God. Where in the world? They should not be saying, oh, Caleb, the CPI, you've done more for us than anybody else. That's not an endorsement of CPI. That's a condemnation of everybody else. The whole Chairman O'Malley, that whole case should be on the front page. Everyone should be demanding this idea that they are accusing a group of black activists in Missouri and Florida of being Russian agents and trying to jail them for 15 years for doing their activism in the black community, for running a farmer's market, for feeding people. Where is the outrage? All these people who say, I'm not good enough, I'm this, I'm that. Why aren't you doing anything for them? Right? I'm doing what I can. I'm not doing that much. I haven't been able to do that much for them. I mentioned their case at the UN. We've sent people to their events, and thank God for John McCarthy, and thank God for Tim Ashenko, and thank God for, the people who actually have stepped up to help Uhuru. But where, this isn't, I haven't done that much for Uhuru. We should all be screaming from the heavens about the Uhuru case. Do you know how dangerous this is? If they declare that these black activists are Russian agents, at that point, it becomes illegal to be an anti-imperialist. And where is the outrage about this case? I appreciate that people are sympathizing with the book. Great, they banned a book. That sucks. And, I'm certainly angry about what they did to my book, and I'm not appreciating that. But at the same time, I will just say that, they're not threatening to throw me in jail at this time, right? The police, have not been knocking on my door. I'm not being dragged to jail. Who knows what could happen? But, the Uhuru case should be on the front page of every newspaper, and every person with any principles, anti-imperialist, civil liberties, freedom of speech, should be screaming from the heavens about the Uhuru case. It is the most important case in this country right now, right? And when I see people just not care about it, people who should care just not care, I don't even know what to say. I'm utterly horrified. I'm utterly horrified. And that, there's a basic understanding. If they come for one of us, they should have to deal with all of us. If they come for one of us, they should have to deal with all of us. That was always the understanding that the socialist movement had, right? If they jail somebody for being a communist, it doesn't matter if they're the wrong kind of communist. Doesn't matter if they're in a group that hates your group, you stand with them. But people don't think that way anymore. No. It's all about how many likes and clicks you can get. You see the attack on somebody as an opportunity. It's sickening. It's just downright sickening what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing from the so-called activist community right now. I don't agree with the Uhuru movement. And if you ever want to get coffee, I will tell you in detail where I disagree with Chairman O'Malley and with their analysis. I have a very different understanding of Marxism and socialism than they do. No question about it. You'll never hear me talking about the colonial mode of production. You'll never hear me, use some of the language they use. I have a very different, position on race, on the role of white workers, etc. Doesn't matter. They're under indictment. Every communist, leftist, socialist, every free speech activist, Tucker Carlson supports them. Did you see this? Tucker Carlson has done more to support the Uhuru movement than the overwhelming majority of so-called socialists. This is insanity. This is just complete and utter insanity. This is just complete and utter insanity, what I'm seeing right now. I was involved in protests to support Mumia Abu-Jamal. I mean, not the big protest to support him. I mean, it was before my time. In 1995, they were going to try to execute Mumia Abu-Jamal. Thousands of people came together who didn't agree with each other to stop the execution of Mumia Abu-Jamal. And they were successful. The state of Pennsylvania backed down and did not execute Mumia Abu-Jamal. I guess nowadays, all they'd have to do if they wanted to execute Mumia is start a meme that he was transphobic, and then half the internet would be okay with it. Half the communists and leftists would be fine with him being killed. I mean, it's insane what I'm seeing here. The lack of solidarity, the lack of understanding that you have any obligation. Yeah, it's utterly infuriating what I'm seeing. It's utterly infuriating. And, the Uhuru movement is the most important case right now. I'm going to put on the clip about the Uhuru movement. Going to put on the clip about it because I want you all to know about this case. Everyone should know about the Uhuru case. I am going to their trial when it opens up. I just, after the rioting was done, U.S. media kind of forgot about those communities. Well, Uhuru, they went out there because they saw black and brown people like themselves that were out there protesting and rioting. And they stayed there, and they've been there since 2014, providing services in the community, giving these young people in the community something constructive to do, not just go out and break shit to raise awareness about the conditions they're in, but ways to actually feed people and serve the community. And they've been there in St. Louis since 2014 doing constructive work. They have really escalated these programs. They have a farmer's market. They provide classes and services to pregnant mothers, and in particular in St. Louis, Missouri, and in St. Petersburg, Florida. They're trying to undo the damage that the U.S. Department of Justice and the state police and the local police and all the forces have been doing in communities like Ferguson, Missouri. And at the same time that they've done this community work, the African People's Socialist Party has also taken a firm anti-imperialist stance. They support China. They support Russia. They support Cuba. They support Iran. And when the United States started piling weapons into Kiev, they defended Russia's right to intervene.
This defensive war in Ukraine that Russia is actually waging against world colonial powers, not Ukraine as a single entity, but the U.S. and all colonial powers who have an interest in colonially dominating African people right here in this country and around the world and extracting resources from the majority of peoples on the planet. That system, this current system, is in severe crisis, and they cannot rule in the same old way.
Because of that, their homes were raided. Then months later, the federal government came out with an indictment, and it's charging them with being Russian agents. And it's trying to allege that the election campaign that they ran in St. Petersburg, Florida, was somehow interference in the U.S. electoral process.
4 activists associated with the People's Democratic Uhuru movement and the African People's Socialist Party have been indicted by the U.S. Department of Justice. The indictment from the U.S. Department of Justice accuses them of spreading Russian propaganda and cites simply some web conferences that they had, some Zoom meetings, some emails they sent out, as well as the fact that they have run routine election campaigns. Is this of concern to the Secretary General as an attack on human rights, freedom of assembly, etc.?
I frankly was not aware of the case before you mentioned it. Let me look into it and I will get back to you.
What's going on in Africa is directly connected to what's going on here. What's going on in Ukraine is connected to what's going on in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? It's an international global economy that's all connected.
Because they go to conferences in Russia, this constitutes Russian meddling in the elections. The whole thing is ridiculous. It's completely, utterly ridiculous. They've been running these campaigns for years, since before I was born. Back in the 1970s, they were running people for office. Their platform of reparations, I mean, Marianne Williamson, she's a major Democrat candidate. She also says she believes in reparations. I mean, it's not a unique message that they have in that sense, but they have been targeted because they're doing what you're supposed to do. I mean, you know, at all of our meetings, we have a picture of Fred Hampton up on the stage because Fred Hampton, he built a free breakfast program. He organized what he called a rainbow coalition, uniting low-income people, white, black, brown, Arab, Latino, into one organization, you know, trying to build up community empowerment, trying to do community service projects while teaching Marxism and socialism. You know, we look at Fred Hampton as a great example of the American revolutionary tradition. And, you know, the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement, you know, they don't like that we wave the American flag. They don't like that we consider ourselves patriotic. They have their own kind of unique analysis. They talk about what they call the colonial mode of production. That's not traditional Marxist thinking. And we don't agree with them on a number of issues. But it doesn't matter. We support them.
We all have to stand up and oppose the ideology of division and support an ideology of unity based upon our material interests, you know what I'm saying, to work together.
People who can't understand that, people who can't get past, you know, this or that, like, we got to put aside our differences and say that if they come for them, they come for all of us. If they go after them, they got to deal with all of us. That needs to be the attitude among anti-imperialists.
All right. I mean, I've said that, what I said about the Uhuru case. Look, I don't know what's going on with my book right now, but this is absolutely crazy. It is absolutely crazy what's going on with my book right now. And look, our organization, the Center for Political Innovation, we just have to pull through, right? We have to pull through and we have to just focus, Look, I have said this over and over again, right? Whenever we're focused on other things, that's when our group comes apart. Right? I mean, that's when everything gets ugly. That's when people start fighting with each other. That's when everyone gets demoralized. But when we have a goal and a purpose, when we are working towards something, that's when the beauty of this community comes together. That's when everything works out the way it should. And look, I don't want to say too much about this because I am in a group and we do consult. Right? So I don't want to say too much about this. I want to go into too much detail, but I'll just throw this out there. Right? We're having a Center for Political Innovation meetup in New York City on August 2nd. And I've been calling up all the kind of inactive New York City members, and I've been working with Peter. Shout out to Peter, not Peter Coffin, Peter L. We've been working to put together our meetup. And, you know, years ago during the Occupy Wall Street protests, I was part of this. This was an anti-imperialist march at Occupy Wall Street. Wall Street is War Street. And, you know, I can't obviously do it by myself, and I don't want to say too much about what my vision might be because who knows what's realistic. You have to conform your vision to what's realistic and all of that. I'll just say this. Between now and the election, November 5th, something like this needs to happen again. There needs to be some kind of anti-war, anti-imperialist assembly between now and the election. It should look different than this. This is a little too hippie, a little too woke, new left, whatever you want to call it. It would look different than this. But there needs to be visible anti-imperialism in this time. And, you know, at the meetup, that we have on August 2nd, I'm going to pitch some ideas to people and see what people are open to doing. You know, there needs to be an anti-imperialist mobilization. Maybe it's not huge, maybe not a huge thing, right? I never claimed I was capable of organizing millions of people. But there needs to be visible anti-imperialist mobilization between now and the election in November. And I think that even though we've got a lot on our plate and even though we're stressed out, and I think there are people in our organization and friends and allies who can do it, who can get it done. I think there are people who can get it done. So based on that, I think that the only way we can get through this crazy moment we're going through, which is very, very stressful, I think the only way we can do is we have to start building for something. We have to start building for something. Somebody's got to do it. We've got to do it. And if we just continue to sit and look, there's so many distractions. There's so many distractions. People wanting us to get caught up in this. People wanting us to get caught up in that. You know, we're doing it. We're doing it. And we got to be there for each other. And it's not a competition. It's not a contest. And I'm really not interested. I'm really not interested in what negative, stuff people have. We've got to just do it. We've got to just do what we were set up to do. And that's what we got to do. Do I have the video of the puppets? This is a remark that I made. Do I have there's a video that I have where I tell a story, a piece of wisdom about the anti-war puppet makers, about kind of what my vision for CPI is. And let me see if I can pull that up. I think it's oddly appropriate. Do I have that video? I thought I did. Maybe I don't. Okay, this is odd. I think I posted it on my other channel. Hey, folks, thanks for being here. I'm real. You know that? I know that sounds kind of silly and repetitive, but it's something I shouldn't have to say, but it's true. It's true. Here is the video. I'm real, right? If I was fake and manufactured, I wouldn't be as real with you on these streams. I wouldn't be uploading my book to different websites to try and avoid the censors. I'm the real thing. I'm the real deal. I'm completely authentic. I am not manufactured in a laboratory. I did not go to Ivy League schools. I am real. I am real. And, reality can be ugly sometimes. Reality is not always pretty, but I'm real. I'm real. And if sometimes our conduct isn't all fancy paints, well, single men in barracks don't grow into plaster saints, said Rudyard Kipling. But that's a whole nother story. But anyway, let me put on the video I was going to put on, right? And about what I want CPI to be. And then we got more questions to answer. So what kind of community are we building? Wisdom that was passed down to me. We can be critical of different figures, but Sam Marcy, an important leader of communism in the post-war years, he would often talk about how at the anti-war protests that happened during the 1960s, where you'd have hundreds of thousands of people marching against the Vietnam War, there'd be these beautiful puppets that they would build. They'd have puppets of, Richard Nixon with his money or whatever. They'd have puppets of the heroic Vietnamese people fighting for their liberation. These beautiful puppets. that there were whole communities of people, and they weren't members of any communist group, but they were against the Vietnam War and had a general leftist, anti-imperialist view, and they made it their mission that when there was a big anti-war rally, they would come together and they would make these beautiful works of art as their contribution to opposing the war in Vietnam. And there were whole communities that built these puppets. It was their project, their way of being creative, of building community and coming together. And there were couples who met each other through the process of making those puppets. And a couple of years later, they were there making the puppets with their little kids that they had just had. And there were whole communities of people, and they made it their mission. This is something that we can do. Imperialism is the enemy of humanity. The Vietnam War is horrible, and this is something we can do. We have a 9-to-5 job, we have a regular life, but this is something that we can do. And we can do it together, and we can bond, and that's beautiful. And what Sam Morrissey would tell his followers is that that community that built those puppets, that's 1,000 times more valuable than some kid who thinks he's Lenin. You know what I'm saying? A community like that has longevity. People are doing that their whole life, and they're taking on a contribution. And that you know, if you've been doing this as long as I have, which is, you know, not that long, relatively speaking, but you realize that there are some people who come around and they see that they don't get the immediate result that they want. They see that they don't, they don't fulfill their dictator fantasy that they have. They see that they see that this isn't exactly the way they want to resolve their parental issues or whatever. And then they go away after a year. They go away after a year. For a year, they know more than everybody. No one knows anything better. They can debate everybody, but they're gone. But those people who came together to build the puppets and build community around it and learn to work together, they keep going. And generation after generation, year after year, they build those puppets. And that is what we need to build with the Center for Political Innovation. We need a network of people who are committed to opposing imperialism, who learn to trust each other and rely on each other and carry out operations, build some beautiful puppets, some beautiful artwork, put on beautiful conferences, and keep this movement alive. That is what we need to build. We need a network of people who love each other and trust each other and can work together and can serve the purpose of representing the anti-imperialist movement in America. That is what we need, and that is what I want us to build with the Center for Political Innovation. Yeah. We're here to build some puppets. We're here to get some shit done. And we're not waiting for anyone's permission to do it. We are not waiting for anyone's permission to do it. And we have a job to do. We have a message that needs to get out there. And so we're going to do it. We are going to do what we need to do. It's that simple. So I'm going to put on some music, a quick bit of music. Yeah. And then from there, I will do the roll call and then we'll answer questions. All right. Names and locations. Names and locations. I will call you all out as I see you. Names and locations. Who is with us tonight? Names and locations. Who is with us? Names and locations. Names and locations. Who is with us? Who is with us? Names and locations. Oh, that's cool. Have me on. There you go. Names and locations. Names and locations. Who is with us? Who is with us? Names and locations. JDL in Missouri. Kerr, David Fox. Dustin Schlesinger from Cleveland, St. Joseph, Missouri. Ryan in Kansas City. Greg in Newcastle, Australia. Steve and Ann in Ringgold, Georgia. Brooklyn in the house. Ian Chester in England. Kieran in London. Bob in Troy, New York. Brad in Cleveland. Patch in Arizona. Jacob in Wisconsin. Grand Oversands, UK. Names and locations. St. David's, Bermuda. Joe Kerr Beach in North Carolina. Detroit Anthony. Rice from Adelaide, Australia. Cleveland's a curious city. Joe in Melbourne, Australia. Alex in Brazil. Luca in Singapore. Mariah in North Carolina. Scott in Maryland. Jenny in Cincinnati. Names and locations. Names and locations. Names and locations. Who is with us tonight? Names and locations. Gavin's in the Midwest. Very good. Very good. Johnny in Kansas City. Welcome, Johnny. Good to have you. The Westgate Tunnel Project here in Melbourne, Australia. Welcome. Welcome. Wow. You're an actual city builder, David. I like it. I like it. I have a Union shirt that David gave me. He's a builder. All that I was talking about how the joy in life is to create and build. That's his life. He's a builder, right? It's beautiful. David's been with us from the beginning, practically. He's been here. So there's real ones out there. Chicago, Illinois, thanks for all your optimism. We will win here. That's right. Our national convention is July 12th, 2025. Be there. Chris in Salt Lake City. Welcome, welcome, welcome. A machinist, a boilermaker, and proud of it. Damn right. A boilermaker. Very, very good. All right, folks. So if you want the PDF of the book, first of all, should I tweet this out? I'm afraid that they'll take my Cash App if I tweet this out. But you know what? I will. I'm wondering if I should tweet it out. If anyone thinks I shouldn't tweet this out, I won't. But I'm going to consult. I want to be careful, right? If send $10 on Cash App to Caleb Maupin 22. Include your email, and I'll send a PDF. Right? That deal is in effect. Yeah, people are saying don't tweet this out. Yeah. There we go. There we go. That is my deal, right? If you want me to send you the PDF. So, okay. And Tim Pool mentioned me tonight. Cool. Well, he should have me on his show to talk about this. This is ridiculous. This is completely ridiculous what they have done with my book. It is completely ridiculous what they have done with my book. Hey, and if, give the deal, do dissonance. If you want to post this in the chat, right? This is how you can get a copy of my book. So, right now, this is what we can do, right? I am, this is what we can do. And this is particularly ridiculous. So why is a book criticizing Kamala Harris not allowed to be out there? I wrote it 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I wrote this book in September of 2020, right? It's not a new book. No Russians had anything to do with it. I wrote it myself. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is just absolutely ridiculous what they're doing right now. And the fact that they won't let people buy it, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, all right. We got a few super chats. We got a few super chats here. So I'm going to start answering them. you know, but if you have any other questions, now would be the time to send them. Oh, we have any Rumble rants? I haven't even opened the Rumble. That's okay. Sorry about that. Let's open the Rumble to see what's going on in there. I wouldn't have seen the Rumble rants. That's how disorganized I am tonight. I've got a lot on my mind, folks. I don't know what the end game of all of this is, but so John for Peace says that's the same thing Scott Ritter's been calling for. Have a stream with him and talk about it. Okay. Well, I'll talk to Scott. Okay. Yeah. You know, but there we go. So, yeah. And I'm just going to start answering people's super chat questions. Having trouble signing up for sign up on Lulu. Yeah. Everyone else is. They've seemed to have stopped allowing people to buy it on Lulu, which is unbelievable. I mean, it's particularly insane. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. Sorry about that. I got on JD Vance. Yeah, I need to just give that my own fair assessment. I've heard various things about it. But you know, I mean, I like that it acknowledges that low income white people exist, you know, even if it says negative things about them, even if it has an elitist view of them, which is what some people claim, you know. Yeah, so there we go. All right. Capitalism owns the means of consumption. In capitalism, no lives matter the most. Yes, well, production is defined by profit. There you go. So, yeah, I don't know, you know. Yeah, there you go. The trot to neocon pipeline. Well, Leon Trotsky had a lot of different followers, people who broke with the official Communist Party. Actually, you know what? I've got a video on this to save my breath and to, you know, keep this stream going for a little bit. Why don't we watch the video on this? Why don't we watch the video? Right? Do we have a video on this? It's not long. I had like 3 stages. The 3 stages of the synthetic left. Do I have that? I think that's on the other channel. Let me see if I can pull up the video. All right. Okay. Nope. Okay. That's weird. Okay. This is YouTube is something special right now. Okay. Okay. Hold on. I actually have a video where I talk about that. I was just going to save my breath, but now it looks like getting that video is going to be even more complicated than talking about it, which is wild. Normally, I would just tell it to you, but I'm feeling a little bit tired tonight with everything going on. I did not hear about the Sonia Massey case. What is that? Let me Google that. Sonia Massey. Right? Deputy charged with killing Sonia Massey in her home after. Wow. Joe Biden gave a statement on it. African-American woman shot, killed. The police state that's emerging in this country is a threat to everyone. And, you know, the civil liberties of all of us are being taken away. The ultra-rich are setting up a low-wage police state. And I've said over and over and over again that now is the time for solidarity. It used to be that when acts of police brutality happened, all the white people said, oh, he deserved it. And, you know, and now there's awareness among white Americans about, you know, about the fact that, you know, that police brutality goes on. And, you know, by racializing it, we kind of miss the point, right? We miss the point, which is that the police state is happening. And when it becomes racial, I mean, yes, it's harder on black people, no question about it. Yes, black people have suffered it way worse than white people have. But by making it racial, that's when a lot of people stop listening, right? And that I think we should understand the police state is a threat to all. It just comes down hardest on those who've been historically oppressed and marginalized. And that's the way I see it, at least. That's the way I see it. So I can't tell anybody else what to do or what to think, but yeah, there you go. Okay. Well, since I'm not going to show this video on the Trot to Neocon pipeline, I'll just tell you, basically, Leon Trotsky's position was the Soviet Union was still what he called a deformed workers' state. It was socialist in name and in economic foundation, but it was led by what he called a parasitical bureaucracy. And that was Trotsky's position. But then in 1939, when the Soviet Union signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, there was a faction of Trotskyites who denounced the Soviet Union. And they said that the Soviet Union didn't have anything revolutionary about it. That the Soviet Union had always been inherently counter-revolutionary, had always been state capitalist or imperialist or bureaucratic collectivist. They were called the New York Intellectuals. And they broke with Trotsky over the question of the Soviet Union because after the Stalin-Hitler Pact was signed, they wanted nothing to do with the Soviet Union. And those are the folks led mainly by Max Shachtman, who became the Trotskyites, who became the neocons. And the CIA started hiring them in the 50s to make anti-communist propaganda aimed at people who might become communists that was more effective. And, you know, Irving Kristol was one of these. So, okay, well, it looks like the video might work, actually. Normally, I wouldn't show you a video of me talking, but I'm just exhausted. So, let's see if we can.
It is now time for the.
All right, we'll see where in my presentation I talked about the new left. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right.
It's saying that deep down, the broad masses of people, about their personal fate, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. People up. We came to power offering stability and development, and that's what we're going to do. And they did it. And the whole world marveled at what the Soviet Union was achieving during the 5-year economic plans because they were raising people out of poverty. And the Koch brothers, their grandfather, Fred Koch, he was a chemist in the United States who'd invented a new method of turning petroleum into gasoline for your car, and he went to the Soviet Union and he made a lot of money helping set up the Soviet oil industry. And this was a necessary thing to do. And it industrialized the Soviet Union very rapidly and enabled them to win the Second World War, enabled them to invent space travel, enabled them to build some of the largest hydroelectrical power plants, the biggest steel industry in the world. That was going on. Trotskyism was the movement of those who rejected that and held on to the permanent revolution. However, there's another layer to this. 1939, the Soviet Union had gone and tried to form an anti-fascist alliance with every major capitalist country. For a while, France was willing to do it, and then France dropped out of it. The rest of the major capitalist countries wouldn't even consider it. And so as an act of desperation, seeing World War II was on the horizon, 1939, the Soviet Union signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. And immediately, a huge amount of condemnation was piled on the Soviet Union, because how dare they make a treaty with the Nazis? It was done out of desperation. It was not an alliance. It was simply a non-aggression pact. But there was a whole public relations campaign because the communists had been leaders of anti-fascist fronts. They were immediately accused of being hypocrites. Time magazine here in the United States started calling the Communist Party USA the communazis. That was the term they used for them. Earl Browder, the leader of the Communist Party, was thrown in prison. There was a whole public relations campaign against the Soviet Union and against the Communist Party for that. And in that atmosphere, there were some Trotskyites who declared that there was nothing revolutionary about the Soviet Union. That most Trotskyites said the Soviet Union was what they called a deformed workers' state, or a degenerated workers' state. That they didn't like Stalin, they didn't like the Soviet government, but the economic foundations were still socialist. But in 1939, there was a clique of Trotskyites in New York City called the New York Intellectuals, who cut ties with Trotsky over any defense of the Soviet Union. As far as they were concerned, the Soviet Union was absolutely no good. And Trotsky, before his death, had a big fight with these folks. And James Cannon, the leader of the American Trotskyists, also had a fight with these folks. And in that fight, some revealing things were said by the leaders of American Trotskyism. This is what James Cannon, the leader of American Trotskyism, wrote about the New York Intellectuals. He wrote, "Trotskyism became more popular in petty bourgeois, intellectual, and half-intellectual circles. And for a time, it even became a fashion. However, with the approach of the war, Trotskyism as a doctrine and as a movement lost its respectability, and many of the intellectuals, sniffing danger, arranged a somewhat hasty and undignified departure." He also wrote, "They mistake their own emotions, their own uncertainties, their fears, and their own egotistical concerns about their personal fate for the sentiments and movements of the great masses. And they measure the world's agony by their own inconsequential aches and pains." He wrote, "Marxists always begin with a program. They rally their supporters around the program and educate them in the process of struggling for the program. But petty bourgeois politics is always a hodgepodge, and it never attains a fully developed, consistent program." And in 1939, the New York intellectuals found their way out of Trotskyism. And then something happened called World War II. And after World War II, the New York intellectuals found their way into something called the Central Intelligence Agency. And this is a well-documented fact. Irving Kristol, who was one of these New York intellectuals, became the founder of the CIA's Congress for Cultural Freedom program. And they began, with CIA money and money from the Ford Foundation and the Rockefeller think tanks, publishing leftist, socialist, Trotskyist magazines, putting out a new interpretation of what Marxism and socialism was all about. Of course, it was very anti-Soviet, but it went further than that. It went a lot further than that. If you read Susan Sontag, you read Hannah Arendt, you read Mary McCarthy, this writing that they were putting out was much more than just a Trotskyist deviation from what the Soviet Union was putting out. It was anti-populism. If you read what they wrote, the people are the enemy. That is the point that they are making. Fascism in their mind is not capitalism in decay. It's not the result of the capitalist system in crisis. Fascism in their mind is whenever ordinary people are getting together and demanding things and threatening the individualism and the sacredness of the great intellectuals. Hannah Arendt's book, Eichmann in Jerusalem. I read that when I was in college. I thought it was a great book. I thought it was about, we need to be nonconformist, don't go along with the crowd. But if you really read what it's saying, the essence of what it's saying that deep down the broad masses of people are a bunch of bloodthirsty Nazis. It's saying that the Soviet Union is just the same as Nazi Germany and that we need to control the working class because if they get together and start to fight for their rights, it'll lead to some horrendous event. Equating the Soviet Union with Nazi Germany, which is now a big part of American war propaganda, and equating both the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany with popular mass movements and people organizing and trying to advance their economic condition. That is the synthetic left. That is the essence of what they are pushing. And if you read Leo Strauss, the founder of neoconservatism, what he was advocating, you read the work of Irving Howe, who is the intellectual father of Democratic Socialists of America, who was one of these New York intellectuals. That's their message. And it comes out of the split in Trotskyism, it comes out of CIA interventions. And at first, it was a way to manipulate the revolutionary intelligentsia. At first, it was about making sure there was distance between these revolutionary intellectuals and the Soviet Union. It was about expanding the gap between the Soviet Union and the revolutionary intelligentsia. However, in the 1970s and 80s, it started turning into something more sinister. We know who George Soros was. We know who Zbigniew Brzezinski was. And the color revolutions that brought down the Soviet Union and the Eastern Bloc were largely carried out with this kind of politics. It was about manipulating intellectuals, tapping into the desire of really the most privileged people in these countries. These were the children of the party elite largely, the academics, the people at the universities. The broad masses of people in the Soviet Union and the Eastern Bloc voted to keep socialism. They supported the communist parties, but it was the university students, it was the filmmakers, and those folks, their grievances, some of which were justified against the Soviet Union, were intentionally manipulated in the name of this kind of fake leftist politics. And it was enabled to create chaos and bring down the socialist countries. And you'll recall, if you read the history, that in the Prague Spring of 1968 and the events of 1989, most of the people that were manipulated into setting the stage for Wall Street to sink its fangs into these countries, they didn't think that they were marching for capitalism. They thought they were marching for socialism with a human face, democratic socialism, more freedom. They thought they were going to keep their guaranteed job, keep their guaranteed health care, but also be able to wear blue jeans and listen to Beatles music and shop at Walmart. It was a con, and it was a manipulation, and it was very effective. And it was a continuation of this manipulation of leftist politics. And now, as we enter a long-term capitalist crisis rooted in the problem of overproduction, this movement that they first developed to manipulate leftism and then utilized against the socialist countries is now being weaponized as the new form of fascism. And it's what is really the ruling ideology of the United States at this very moment. This is what we are living under. Wokeism is a result of this manipulation. They have brought the color revolution machine home to the United States in an effort to try and save capitalism. That's what's happened. And to those of us who've been to the socialist countries, and those of us who know what Marxism is actually about, it is nothing but the most outrageous and infuriating thing. And that is why we are screaming about it from the heavens. You know, I went to West Virginia after Trump got elected, and I interviewed a steel worker. And he had been a lifelong Democrat, but he voted for Trump, he said, because the Democrats don't care about the working class anymore. Now they're just a bunch of socialists. It's a tragic statement. You know, and you listen to people, you know, if I thought Joe Biden was a socialist, if I thought Joe Biden was a communist, I would probably hate communism and socialism too. And this vile anti-working class movement that is about controlling the broad masses of people, grinding them into poverty, setting about chaos in the country so that the ultra-rich can secure their grip on society as we degrow and melt down amid a capitalist crisis. It's very frightening. And many working people want to get together and protect their communities and their families from this insanity. And those of us who understand what Marxism really is should understand we're on their side. We're not with the woke synthetic left.
Yeah, and you can watch the full speech. That was my speech from the Summit Against Hypocrisy, spring of 2023. And it's a full-length presentation. I spoke for like an hour and a half, you know, talking about what our movement is about and what our goals are and et cetera. And it's one of my better talks. So you can go watch the whole thing. But that was to answer about the trot to neocon pipeline. You can go watch the full speech. All right, folks. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with attorneys and everything because this is wild. But my offer does stand. I'll put it on the screen one more time. If you want the PDF, Cash App, $10 to Caleb Maupin 22. And include your email. And we'll continue to get the PDF out there. And let's just continue to raise awareness. I'm lined up to go on a number of shows. I'm going on Sabi Sobs tomorrow. I'm going on some other shows I'm going to be going on a lot of different podcasts and shows in the coming weeks, and we'll see how big this blows up. But this is insane. Yeah. So we'll fight this. We'll fight this. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. I am now going to put on the closing music. Okay, put on the closing music. New upsurge in the struggle against U.S. imperialism is now emerging throughout the world. Ever since World War II, U.S. imperialism and its followers have been continuously launching wars of aggression. But the people of various countries have been continuously waging revolutionary wars to defeat their aggression. And while the danger of a new world war still exists, and the people of all countries must get prepared, revolution is the main trend in the world today.